Well, guys, welcome to the first video of my channel. I'll be explaining a lot of concepts. I use a lot of stuff I've been using to trade pretty much. And well, I'll be explaining everything about yesterday's price action that was pretty much Friday the 27th. If I don't, yeah, Friday 27th. And well, let's start with the 50-minute chart. What do we see? We see a couple of POIs, right? On the 50-minute, what is visible, it's this POI that caused this big impulse to the downside and broke structure. It's a valid POI if you see it in that perspective, but why it didn't work and it just like blasted out of it. If you go to here and you see the Asian range, you don't want to be having POIs on the supply or demand that are the extremes of the Asian range. That's why it didn't work. It didn't work out. Uh, it because it's pretty much the Asian range. I mean, I always target the highs and lows of the Asian range if the uh, London session haven't been taken out the high or the low. So that's why it didn't work. But if we see in the 15-minute perspective, uh, pretty much supply was taking control. If you see, it's pretty much supply, then broke is structured, then demand is taking control over supply. But we still have a POI of supply right here. Why did have a pullback? If you go to the 4 hour, you see a pullback right here. But why did it happened? Pullbacks aren't random. They're mostly composed. I've been backtesting this, and they're mostly composed of unmitigated POIs to the left, right? Well, let's go to the 50-minute to be more visible. I put it 50-minute ROB because I put like reaction order blocks, or you can put it unmitigated order blocks, whatever you want to call it. But the main reason of pullbacks happening, it's some supply or demand unmitigated, so I went to the 50-minute all the way back. Uh, and here you have a couple of 50-minute. Right now they're not visible, but if you go to the 50-minute, you marked everything that it's unmitigated. You can see probably you can have a reaction and play a pullback out of it. To play in order to play a pullback, it has to have a breakup or demand supply flip. Uh, and really be having a chain that broke to the upside. That's the main reason how to play a pullback. So you want to mark out your zones and not just wait for something to happen in that supply, and you can just be taking advantage of every single step. So we have that 50-minute unmitigated order blocks. That's the main reason why it reacted and played a pullback, right? So let's go to the 5 minute and see what's happening, right? In the 5 minute, you have this 50-minute supply in here that isn't it's not valid for me. It's valid for some others, but not valid for me, because it's in an Asian range, right? So we have demand supply flip. Sorry, demand no, yeah, supply to demand flip. Sorry. We have a couple of things I want to point out in here. We have a really good chain forming to the upside of the 50 minutes, taking into consideration the origin of the movement, right? If you see, we're bullish. We have to ignore the fact that we are reacting from a couple of supplies right here because we're still bullish and we're still breaking structure, although we are reacting of those supplies. But how to take advantage of it? Well, let's go to the 1 minute to understand it. Okay, everybody can say, and it's not wrong, that everything about this is about the liquidity being built. Yeah, for sure, it's liquidity being built. But once you understand that there's going to be a chain of demand or supply, whatever you have on that day, sorry, you gotta have. I put it on the Discord that you gotta have a chain of demand supply or trendline liquidity that you expect to be liquidity and not being liquidity, that's completely right. You don't want to be liquidity, but how you take advantage of it if it's so visible? Well, you understand the liquidity has to be built, has to, yeah, pretty much be built in order to cause a movement to the downside. I've been posting this and I've been backtesting this thing a lot. So you have, let's say you have a bullish scenario, right? So their higher time frame in here, let's say it's a supply, right? So you can, okay, it's a supply. So you can be taking advantage of these mitigations and knowing where to target. You can target this supply, and if that doesn't work, you can target the next supply or even the next supply. Because although it's forming liquidity, like here, let me just delete this. This infographic is on the Discord, so the yeah, doesn't mean to to put it right here. So if you see this a chain forming, it's liquidity, absolutely is liquidity, and then you cannot be scaling it in here. That why would it fail? Well, we charge some supply sort of here. Okay, then we have a supply zone. We can mark our next possible supply zone, but although take into consideration the 5 minute POIs that are stronger than that, but we can definitely take advantage of this supply chain above, right? Why did I take these traits? If you see there's a change of character, you can put it just like a boss and in simple. Oh shit, you can put it like a boss, and did you can put it demand supply? No, supply to demand. Sorry. You can be perfectly playing this until this supply. That's why I did, and it's fine because you know where to target. You know you are on liquidity. You are the liquidity that is being built, where you're taking advantage of it of that liquidity. That's completely right. Why did I take this trade again? We have some chain above here forming of supply unmitigated supplies that we expect a pullback to happen. Then we pull back, and then I play the pullback with a confirmation supply to demand. It's the same if you're trading in a 4 hour, 15 minute, 5 seconds. It's always the same. So why would you target like this? Sometimes it can happen. You can out of this target this, and I wasn't wrong. I was targeting that originally. I didn't see this playing out, but once it flipped, uh, I think it was in here, came back, and I didn't see an impulsive move. I closed it just in here of out of a 7 hour. It's possible to target that one. It will be like a 34%. That's completely possible and it's logical. But at the same time, you gotta know your liquidity being built on the substructure. And the main structure that it's playing now, it's the 5 minute. If you go to the 5 minute, it's not different from that. You see a break structure. This is all liquidity, but you can take advantage of it knowing where the supply will react or will the demand will react. As I said before, this supply is reacting, this forming a chain that is creating the pullbacks, so you can play the pullbacks back into the demand that is a 5 minute, that is the principal one, not yeah, approaching to the market like that. It's a really completely different that or just waiting like this. Okay, this everything is it's liquidity being built. I won't take any trading here. Completely valid. Completely valid. But once you understand liquidity that it has to be built, most of the times when it's being built, it's not going to do something like let me see. It's going to create a chain that is going to be respected. That it's like how do you say, like pretty much like a protected chain. But once why did it happen that it did do this and then came back? Because it's possible, and most of the times it reacted to some higher time frame POIs unmitigated right here. Let's say it was demand and it didn't work out, so your target must be like this. other than this. You can possibly target like that low sometimes. Yeah, it can happen, but the most conservative target that I will be the most logical for me will be this one, because you are the liquidity being built. You gotta understand that you are pretty much playing with the liquidity and taking advantage of it, knowing where it will pull back. Again, charts aren't random. They pullbacks are perfect. I mean, at some point, charts are really precisely calculated, and we can take advantage of it, but just backtesting a shit ton of it and knowing where it will be pulling back and where it won't be pulling back. So why did I target that one? I saw this unmitigated POI. That will be my target. Although I can target this one because it was 5 minute based trade idea. If it's 5 minute based trade idea, you can target 5 minute. If it's 15 minute based idea, you can target 50 minute, and that's the thing you can be targeting. So I just stay with this target. I was really like happy with the target. It was like a 30 yard target. I was really happy about it. I mean, you it can be possibly targeting a little bit above, but it can take time to correct and impulse again. So I said, okay, let's target this one. Um, I didn't take this trade. The first pullback, I don't take it because of the fact I don't know exactly where it will pull back, but we have a couple of unmitigated zones. We know it can react off. So once I see this demand to supply flip or break of structure, again, I put a position right here, and if you see this whole thing, it's like a 15-minute order block. This whole thing is a 15-minute order block. I personally target this one. It's a 15-minute POI. Again, it formed a supply chain, and then I entered on the third one, on the second one, sorry, because I know that was the one that caused the pullback and caused the flip. So, or yeah, pretty much. So I entered that one. That was another 15 hour. We're already up. This was a 5 seconds trade because it broke a structure, reacted to it a little bit, and I took advantage of it in the 5 seconds. And just target the low. That was like I think it was a 10 hour. Yeah, like a 10 hour. Well, here it's not, but it was like a 10 hour. I pulled out. I also took this one. Was a 7 hour again with the same concepts, and the main trend was the 5 minutes. So the the one that I was mostly interested was the 5 minute one. So then I played this one. I played also the pullback because liquidity was being built. It reacts something here. It wasn't random. It reacts something here, and I see this change of character again. Oh well, this demand supply flip, break the structure, and I get in the break structure in here. Sorry, and I got in and break to the upside. That was the thing. And I played the pullback. Again, I was liquidity, yeah, but I did know why I was liquidity and what where it's mostly gonna stop on the main chain that is the supply one, right? So then again, we tapped the 15-minute POI, get go went to the upside. It didn't break the structure. 5 minute structure that was this one, although it respected I wouldn't consider this like a break of structure because it pulled back in just in a couple of seconds. Uh, so I tried another supply based thing because I see a chalk in here. I tried on the extreme. At the first side, it worked out. Then respected demand and broke to the upside. I was okay. That's the end of my day. Then I saw this supply chain forming. I got in on this one. Either I will be getting in here or in here, but you can see it's effective price action. The most impulsive move was this one that created imbalance. So in here, I said, okay, this was the last the cause of the break that has some impulsive move to the downside. and you can see I buy another 10R. And again, you can do this again and again and again. This was a sweep of liquidity of this one, of all of this. Normally sweeps of liquidity are mostly yeah, are mostly protected because there's the manipulation right there. So again, I saw the sweep. You can see that is the supply. That everything about this just inducement, completely valid. Still touch, but that was my thoughts on it. And well, react to the 5 minute demand, and where we currently have this supply waiting for it to react, but I don't think it's gonna react anymore, and demand is taking control over it. And well, yeah, that was the main point I wanted to point out. You can be trading pullbacks. Sorry, marking everything, everything. You don't know exactly when it's going to react. Mark everything to the left that you can possibly know it will react. I personally marked 15 minute unmitigated POIs and 1 minute mitigated POIs that it can be having a possible reaction. It creates a chain. I enter on the second one. It creates a chain, breaks the structure, causes something, and then enter on it. And the next thing I want to point out, y'all have seen this 400R trades, 500R trades that are possible. They are logic. It's not anything out of this world. It's not I yeah, it's really really simple, but at the same time it's really really complex. Once you understand it, it's really really simple. But look at this trade, okay? Look at the 15 minute. You have everything. We have a reaction of demand, right? That's what it pulled back. We have this supply getting, because it was a sweep of liquidity, all of this liquidity broke to the downside, so we expect something to happen in here, right? So we see chalk on the fit in the 1 minute, didn't come back to the 1 minute, rather it breaks the structure. What was the cause of the break? Was this one. Then broke against structure. We have inducement right here. Try to mitigate that order block, but it failed to do it. So then you go to the 1 minute and see what happened there to take advantage of it. Okay, sorry. I really marked out. I took this one on demo. That's why I marked it. You see the perfectly made chain that like it didn't. Sometimes guys think it will do this. Can There's a still possible probability that it's going to do like something there, here, come back, mitigate something, again broke to the downside. It's possible, but I saw this order flow, not ignoring it, but rather taking it, and I took it on the demo, not on the real account. Still, you have nice order flow right here. But what I wanted to point out was this rate. Okay. It happened to mitigate something here. No, it broke just structure, broke again, respected demand, broke again. But you know, there's a 15 minute POI right here that I talked about it. That's right here, right? Because we analyze everything about this. We analyze, okay, there's this, okay. We go back. Oh, I gotta replay this because it's really, really. What the fuck is happening? Okay. Sorry. We got this, right? That was the main point I want to point out. We have this. I'm getting lost right here. Okay. We have this. That was the POI we marked of. Right? This was the POI that I told you about it. We have the extreme. You can possibly be taking an entry on the 1 minute or even the 5 seconds right here. Nothing possible because this will be stopping you out. But let's say you took this trade that was completely logical. It created some kind of the supply chain. You can see there's the demand. You can be playing this demand chain until it hits this supply main chain and get back down. right? Because supply is taking control over demand. This is just the substructure things, and the main structure, if you see on the 5 minute perspective, it's breaking structure. So you can be playing both. See how this doesn't come back and mitigate this exactly. It reacts something here before taking everything about this liquidity down. So let's say you pull this one and you have a 0.9 pip stop, and you got out of it, and let's say you target something about here. That's a 15 hour already. If you take it just to the next level, that's a 200 hour trade. You can be trading stop losses. I won't consider trading stop losses. You see how the chain is respected to, not on the causes and bullshit. It's really on the cause, really on the extreme, not on something. Right here, it can be possible reacting this demand coming back to supply. Then we will be reanalyzing price action. We are not perfectly made to analyze charts just like everything have 100% correct, but we can analyze it with logic, the same logic we analyze the 1 minute. You can be having this trade 200 hour trade. What would you need more uh than that? You can be having targets like 400 hour targets, or this target that was a 300 hour. That is completely possible. I mean, it can just come back to this supply and get back down and break everything about this, not ignoring this ones. Oh shit. So that's how you get a 100 hour, 500 hour, 600 hour trade, just following the high time frame structure, knowing the low time frame structure, and just taking the trade out of it. That's the main reason. So hope this video helped. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comments, or I'll be putting some kind of question thing on the Discord, so everybody can be putting their questions. I won't be right now really much replying a lot, because I'm taking right now a challenge, and I'll be just focusing this next week on the challenge. Probably not talking too much. Going to make daily recaps, daily markups, backtesting markups, live discussion trades that I will take. So stay updated, and yeah, that was probably, yeah, that was it.